welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. On today's show, Marquez wins his second straight MotoGP title. We're taking a look at the Euro 2016 qualifiers and friendly matches from over the weekend, and Roger Federer wins the Shanghai Masters. Well, if you're a MotoGP fan and think you're experiencing deja vu, it's because you are. With several races left in the season, there's already a crowned champion, and it's none other than 21-year-old defending champion Marc Marquez. David Matlin and Samuel Carvo have more.
Marc Marquez continued to impress on Sunday and retains his crown this season after finishing second in the Grand Prix of Japan Motegi. There are still 3 races to go, but the Spaniard tops the tables with 82 points, and no one can overtake him before season's end. Valentino Rossi is second in the standings alongside Danny Pedrosa.
It's incredible. I couldn't imagine, and yeah. Maybe for the people it looks easy because I always smiling, always happy, but also I feel the pressure and it was so hard, especially after Misano and Aragon, that I did big mistakes. But anyway, I know that it was important here for Honda. For that reason, I concentrate. I focus the race just for get the title. The
prodigy Marquez didn't start the race in Motegi too well, but he was patient enough to wait for an opportunity to sneak up on his opponents and cross the finish line second, ahead of former contenders Rossi and Pedrosa, who came in 3rd and 4th, respectively. Jorge Lorenzo won the race, coming in on a high note after winning in Aragon. It's the 54th victory of Lorenzo's career and the 33rd in the Queen category.
Really happy to get this second victory in a row. In Aragon, to be honest, we didn't expect it to win, but finally the circumstances helped us quite a bit. But here we knew we have a good pace. I felt very good with the bike. I want to thank the great job of Yamaha because now the bike is very competitive. At
just 21 years old, Marc Marquez already has 4 world titles to his name. Besides his 2 coronations in the Premier class, he was also a Moto2 champion in 2012, and also in 2010 he won the 125 CM3. And if you think Marquez is very young, pay attention to Moto3 driver Alex Marquez, Marc's little brother, who's at the top of the table of this year's Moto3 after winning this weekend's race in Japan. The Marquez family seems to be building quite a racing dynasty.
And this afternoon, Roger Federer beat Gilles Simon in the Shanghai Masters 7-6, 7-6. Today's victory is the Swiss's 23rd Master 1000 and his 81st overall trophy. With the win, Federer is moving up to the 2nd spot in the ATP rankings, while Simon moves back into the top 20 after a stellar but not good enough performance against Federer this afternoon. And a busy weekend for Euro 2016 with both friendly matches and qualifying games. Competition host France automatically qualifies for the games, and just a month after beating Spain, they took the pitch against Portugal in a friendly match. France won the game 2-1 with goals from strikers Karim Benzema and Paul Pogba. Portugal scored late, but it wasn't enough to overcome Les Bleus. And France head coach Didier Deschamps knows these games may not give the team any points, but you can't discount them.
It is important to maintain the dynamic. We have prestigious matches coming up. Today the Stade de France was packed, also with an important Portuguese community. We have to keep the same face, the same aggressiveness, the same pace. Because we play games that we know don't earn us any points. But there is a dynamic to keep. We will have other opponents in the future, prestigious ones. We need to keep the pace, not necessarily with the same players every time, but we need to get ready to improve.
And now to the qualifying games. Poland took the German team by surprise, winning 2-0 in Warsaw, the first time the Poles have beaten their neighbors. The recently crowned World Cup champions weren't expecting this big of a challenge. Most of the Polish players play in the German Bundesliga, giving them time to observe and learn about the German team. Like Robert Lewandowski, who plays for Bayern Munich. After the game, Lewandowski said it took them a little while, but the team found their stride and their confidence against the Germans.
It's true that during the very first minutes of the game we had too much respect for Germans. But later on I think we realized that it can be our day. We made a historic result for Polish football today. We know that, but from now on we have to concentrate on Tuesday's match against Scotland.
And taking a look at the groups again, Group D, the biggest surprise was Poland beating Germany 2-0, putting them at the top of the rankings with Ireland, which beat Gibraltar 7-0, and the first victory for the Scottish team, who beat Georgia 1-0. And over in Group F, Northern Ireland was the surprise team, holding its place at the top of the table after beating Faroe Island 2-0. The other two matches, Romania versus Hungary and Finland against Greece, both ended in 1-1 draws. And only two games in Group I, Albania and Denmark tied 1-1, and so did Armenia and Serbia. Denmark and Albania are at the top of the table with 4 points each. But don't forget, France is already qualified, and both Serbia and Portugal played against France. Those games didn't count in the rankings, so they're one match behind. For some players, the end of the career is far from unpleasant. In recent years, Thierry Henry took his career to the United States and was an asset to the New York Red Bulls. The striker will soon be leaving the Big Apple, but he does not intend to say goodbye to the pitch anytime soon. The football world wonders, is he going back to the old continent to finish his career? Shai Benari and Lise Barenbaum report.
He's been lighting up the American soccer stage since 2010. Age 37, Thierry Henry hasn't lost any of his talent, and he registered 51 goals in total during his 4 years in a New York Red Bulls jersey. He experienced great success as a player who arrived in New York extremely enthusiastic.
What I want is to win with the team, being able to enjoy on the pitch, share most of the time. I hope it's going to be a lot of happiness instead of sadness, so that's what I'm looking for.
The forward's contract ends in December of this year, and since the team's sponsor wants to reduce the squad's budget, the chances the former Arsenal star stays in North America are practically nil. Henry refuses any pay cut, and the club just cannot afford to pay him $4.35 million a year to satisfy him. But the French team's best scorer in history has no intention to retire. He's already planning ahead to his career after New York, with several options. Today it's Paris Saint-Germain who are eyeing the striker. The Capitals club is used to this kind of marketing action, bringing in star players. In January 2013, Paris was able to sign British star David Beckham for the last 5 months of his career. Thierry Henry does not enjoy the same international fame as the Spice Boy, but this Parisian-born player could help PSG when Zlatan is injured and Cavani isn't playing well. According to the media, Monaco is an option for the footballer who began his career with them. It's a less likely scenario, but would suit a team that lost Radamel Falcao and James Rodriguez. Others dream of a great comeback with Arsenal, the team with which Thierry Henry broke out in the 2000s. In 2012, Gunner fans had the pleasure of seeing their idol back on their field due to a rather successful loan. There's even a statue of Henry near the Emirates Stadium. A return to the Gunners today will not make sense sports-wise. Olivier Giroud may be injured, but Danny Welbeck has done a great job replacing him, scoring a hat-trick in the Champions League against Galatasaray. But instead of coming back as a player, the ex-Arsenal star could possibly come back as a member of the staff. But Thierry Henry could surprise us in another way, just like Trezeguet or Anelka. He could try an exotic adventure by possibly joining his old Arsenal teammates Robert Pires and Freddie Lundberg, who are playing in the Indian Super League. The Indian League is now home to many previous international football stars. Thierry Henry has a lot of options on the table, a new beginning in another country or a return home. The question is whether the world champion is ready to come back to the hexagon.
Their teams may be 4 divisions below England's Premier League, but that doesn't stop them from being the same devoted fans to their clubs with heated rivalries and the same passion we see on the big stage. Here's more on these faithful fans.
Off to the big match. But these die-hard football fans aren't on board for the glamour and skill of the Premier League. They say their loyalty to a club in the 5th tier of English football is based on community.
We live and work in Woking, and so we support our local team, which is Woking.
Aldershot's Recreation Ground Stadium is a world away from the glamour of clubs like Chelsea and Man U. There are no millionaire players here, and clubs like Aldershot and Woking rely on their fans to keep them financially afloat.
This is a players' fund that I earns the money for the club. Okay. So obviously, it goes into the players' fund to help buy players.
Thousands of fans show up to watch the Shots take on bitter local rivals Woking in the Premier Conference. It may be a full 4 divisions down from the Premier League, but the supporters say that makes the players here far more approachable.
I feel closer to the club here. I could stand outside the offices and have a chat with our captain or our centre forward and all that. Didier Drogba wouldn't even shake your hand.
Aldershot puts up a good fight, but it's Woking that comes out on top, scoring the game's only goal. Last year, Aldershot also almost lost the battle for financial survival, joining several other non-league clubs that have recently gone into administration. They were only saved when they were bought up by a consortium headed by local businessman and computer millionaire Shahid Azim.
The town itself, the name Aldershot, means a lot to the people themselves here, so they still buy into that town, and this is their town, this is their team, and this is what they will support. Whereas when you've got a big business now, which what football is, you know, it's as I say, it's a global brand, you know.
Fans here talk of belonging to a family, not a brand, and defeat is hard to take, but they'll still be back for more next week.
We didn't have to wait long to see LeBron James face his old team, the Miami Heat. Granted, this preseason game doesn't really mean anything, but it was sure entertaining. The two met in Rio de Janeiro, where pro-Heat fans actually booed King James when he was introduced. The Cavs had the lead for most of the game, but it would take overtime to settle this one. The two went back and forth in OT, but the Cavaliers took the lead for good with 39 seconds left, eventually winning 122 to 119. James played just 21 minutes against his old team, putting up only 7 points, and left the game for good 4 minutes into the second half, while newly acquired Kevin Love scored a team-high 25 points. After the game, LeBron talked about facing the Heat.
For me, it was a special moment. I mean, to be back out there competing against my own teammates, and you know, I didn't get the awkward feeling, you know, but I did get the, you know, a lot of memories came back, you know, with the things that we accomplished, you know, with my teammates and the coaching staff that's there. So it was definitely great to see him.
You know, as far as him in another uniform, us in the same, and being on different teams, I mean, we're pretty much over that. We're here to improve our team, to get better, and he's doing the same thing. So I'm glad we could get that out the way and move on from here.
And 6 Israeli swimmers broke the world open water relay record this weekend, swimming 380 kilometers from Cyprus to the Israeli city of Rishon LeZion. It took the team 125 hours to swim through the Mediterranean. They left Paphos last Sunday and completed their mission on Friday. It is their second attempt at breaking the record. They cut their first attempt short because of rough seas. After arriving back in Israel, members of the team talked about the complexity of training for the event and the obstacles they encountered over the 380 kilometers.
We trained for that swim during a crazy year and a half. We had to challenge the team on one side, a team that varies in ages from 42 to 66 years old, and on the other hand, not get injured and to watch out for our health. Day and night we coped with fishes, dolphins, fear. It was a tremendously powerful group challenge.
The sentencing of Paralympic hero Oscar Pistorius is scheduled to begin tomorrow after a South African court found him guilty of culpable homicide for killing his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp. More about what we should expect and what may be Pistorius' future in the following report.
The accused is found not guilty and is discharged. Instead, he is found guilty of culpable homicide.
Culpable homicide, not murder. The verdict handed down in September to Oscar Pistorius, the South African Paralympic champion who shot and killed his girlfriend through his bathroom door on Valentine's Day in 2013. 20 months later, and the trial finally reaches its end, with Judge Masipa to decide on whether the superstar will go to jail or not. But first, the defense and prosecution will make arguments for lighter or heavier punishment and call more witnesses to the stand. Pistorius could face a fine, a suspended sentence, community service, or up to 15 years behind bars.
Oscar's been very enabled in his life, either through his disability or his celebrity. He's always had people letting him get away with things, and he's always lived a life of getting off, as it were, and being allowed to get off. So in that sense, I don't think Oscar could ever desire to go to jail or accept that he has to go to jail. I think he will take whatever available resources and recourses he has to avoid that.
Pistorius could appeal against a prison sentence. The 27-year-old athlete has already sold his houses to pay for his lawyer's fees, and his wealthy family stands behind him. The prosecution could also appeal against the verdict, which has been criticized as too lenient by many observers. One way or another, the trial that has captivated South Africa and many around the world is likely to reverberate long after the courtroom finally falls silent.
And heading into the Nevada desert, the qualifying for the 7th round 2014 Red Bull Air Race World Championship took place in Las Vegas over the weekend. Canadian Pete McLeod set the fastest time on Saturday, topping the timesheets in 59.588 seconds. It's the 4th time he's posted the fastest qualifying round and the 3rd time in a row, but he hasn't won yet in 2014. Britain's Nigel Lamb came in with the 2nd fastest time, just over 49.7 seconds. He's finished 2nd at the last 3 rounds. And Germany's Matthias Dolderer rounded up the top 3 times in just over 50 seconds. And that's all for us for now. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Marav Savir. Thank you for watching.